Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Don't know why I got that circle around there like that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Come on in, come on in, come on in this evening. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Trying to get myself situated this evening. Welcome, everyone. I'm a little crooked here. Okay. Come on in and join us this evening. Welcome. Come on in and join us this evening. It is good to be here. It is good to be here this evening. And I'm glad you all have joined us. We're going to have a exciting talk tonight with our special guest tonight. And so I am just so grateful that everyone has joined us this evening. So come on in, and make yourself comfortable. I am okay. Hey, Duchess. Hey, Mr. Jackson. Come on in, and we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started this evening. Good evening, everyone. Okay. Good evening. Hi, Duchess. Where is Dr. Vinson this evening? Hello, Dr. Vinson. How are you doing this evening? Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let me see. Let me turn that volume off of that. Let me try this one more time. Hold on just a second. Alrighty then. So I'm going to go on in and add my producer. I want to thank you, Mr. Jackson. It said it was adding you. I don't see you, Mr. Jackson. But anyway, Mr. Jackson helps me produce the show because, I'll be fumbling all over the place. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started this evening. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Juju, and I'm coming to you guys live from my living room this evening. Each week here on Let's Talk, we discuss current events and their impact on the Black community. Let's Talk is created to be a positive, uplifting, and informative discussion. All constructive opinions are welcome, as we must learn to listen to and consider the opinions of others, even if we don't necessarily agree with them. However, this is not a place to tear down, but to uplift and enlighten. Therefore, if your comments are not coming from a place of love and they're not intended to uplift, we kindly ask that you find another forum to express them. Please note that any opinions I express are strictly that, my opinions. And this is not intended to be a news show, but I will try to steer clear of gossip and things that I know are not true. It is my sincere hope that everyone finds this to be a safe place where we feel comfortable sharing your opinions. About your host, I am simply a sinner saved by grace. Every good and perfect part of me comes from God. Therefore, I praise Him and give Him glory anytime I am given an opportunity. My motto, I am walking by faith, inspiring hope and showing love along the way. I want to say hello to everyone that I see out there today. Miss Christine Thomas, Miss Murtis Burton Daniel, Vinny E, Miss Lakeisha, King Menifee, Miss Jackie Finkling. I don't know why I can't pronounce your name, Jackie. I'm sorry, but anyway, thank you guys for joining. And I'm going to go on and I'm going to invite Miss Lakeisha King Menifee in. And we're going to talk to her just a second about a group that she is a part of. And the name of the group is C. It's adding Miss Lakeisha. Um, there's Miss Lakeisha. I love y'all. Y'all, I love Miss Lakeisha. She is one of the sweetest people you would ever want to meet. And so hey, Miss Lakeisha, how you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. And we just wanted to
Good.
talk to you real quick about your organization, C. Tell us, it's SEE, right? C.
Yeah,
So
yes.
tell us what C is.
So, C is a civic organization. We are Sisters Exemplifying Excellence. We started back in 2010, where a group of Auburn High School graduate females, we came together and we decided that we wanted to do things to change our community or bring things to our community, both socially and I guess economically, so we could make an
Okay.
impact and a difference.
Okay.
And so we started just doing little things like back to school events. We have our
Mhm.
breast cancer walk, and that evolved into our Curing the Colors of Cancer walk because more than breast cancer impacts our community.
Okay.
And so we wanted to start giving education and things on all of the other cancers and how they are affecting us in our community, especially as African Americans. With a lot of people think colon cancer, you start getting checked at the age of 50, but in the African American community, it is really affecting those earlier in their 30s and sometimes in their 20s. And so we just want to bring awareness and understanding to what is going on and impacting our community. We do a textbook scholarship every year in honor
Okay.
of one of our original members, Amy Harris Core, who unexpectedly passed from a brain aneurysm in 2014. We were doing the scholarship prior to that, but upon her passing, she was a school teacher and librarian in Auburn City Schools. We named the scholarship after her. And so we just do little impactful events to bring hope and change to our community.
Okay, that is so exciting, and I know I just realized I missed the application date for the scholarship. It passed. It was on the 15th, but
It was.
we'll keep that in mind for next year. People can apply, and you all do so many different wonderful things. That's why I wanted to
You.
highlight. See, y'all do the backpacks for back to school
We do.
and all those different things. So that's why I
Yeah,
want to highlight. See. And Lakeisha is a nurse practitioner, so I'm gonna
I
have her
am.
back on here to talk about all these different cancers. She's gonna
Yes,
school us on that
yes.
another day. But we wanted to highlight C today.
Right. So let
And
me go back to one thing, Juju, that
okay,
you just brought up about our scholarship.
okay,
I would like for everyone in the Lee County area, we've been doing our scholarship now for 10
hmm
years, a little more than 10 years. It's longer than that because Amy died in '04. So long, but more than 10 years.
okay.
We have the hardest time getting applicants. Now,
Oh,
yes, now we originally started with Auburn High School. Then we branched out to Auburn, Opelika. We branched out and included Lochapoka. And
okay,
then we branched out to do all of Lee County schools.
okay.
Well, we did not get any applicants. I want to say last year we didn't get anybody from Smith Station, Beauregard, like our county schools, and it's like pulling
Oh,
teeth to get applicants from Auburn, Opelika, Lochapoka.
okay.
So that's why we try to share as much as we can on social media. We do send our application to the school counselors, but if we can just encourage our African American female seniors to
Okay.
apply when we post the scholarship, because it's like
Okay.
pulling teeth to get applicants.
Okay. And I'll try to put a little pin in there so I remember to get you in earlier next year. So
Yeah.
when do you open your application?
So our president, Ashley Talbert Baker, she normally reaches out to the school counselors and she asks them when their awards day is, because what we try to
Okay.
do is we try to open it at least 6 to 8 weeks prior so that we can have at least 2 weeks to read the essays, award the winner, so that we can be present at their awards day to
Okay.
give them their check and their
Okay.
certificate.
Okay.
So it just varies depending on the awards days at the schools. But normally by the end of January it's open and we close it about the middle of March.
Okay. All right. Well,
Mhm.
that sounds great, Lakeisha. Thank you so much. And I know that you are selling raffle tickets right now
Yes.
to help support your scholarship. How can
Yes.
someone get a raffle ticket from you?
So they can reach out to any C member. That's myself, Ashley Tauber Baker, Natalie Covington, Shankia Berry, Robbie Trumbull, Jasmine Scott, and Shawanda Anderson. Or they can tag any of us on Facebook because we all are sharing the post. They can PayPal to the ladies of C at yahoo.com. And myself or Ashley Tauber Baker checks that and she will send us the name, and then we will write your tickets out, send you a picture of them so you'll know that we wrote them out and put them in the basket. And I think I saw a question on here, how will the winner be announced? I'm not sure if that's for the scholarship or the raffle ticket, but I'm going to answer both. For the raffle tickets, we will go live on Friday, April the 5th. You will see us empty the raffle tickets into the container. We will shuffle up and we will pull the winners live on Facebook, which we will leave up there and share. And for the scholarship, once we read the essays and award the winner, once I type the formal letter and get those out, then Ashley will post them on Facebook and we will share them across social media.
All right. Thank you so much, Lakeisha, for coming
Thank
on with me at the
you.
last minute. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'm going to have you back, and so you can give us some medical information because we need that as
Yes.
well.
Yes,
All
please
right.
do.
Thank you, baby.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Love you.
Love you
Bye bye.
too. Bye bye.
All righty then. So, well, thanks so much to Lakeisha, and you all keep the ladies of C and that group in mind. It's when it comes to scholarship time, if we know some people, some children, young women that are going to be graduating next year, let us keep them in mind. And because she said they have a hard time getting applicants, so let's keep that in mind. So tonight, guys, I have a question for you guys. How many of you have spring or summer gardens? First, and then second, how many of you would like to have a garden, have no idea how to start, and don't think it would be successful? Just posing that question to you guys. How many of you have summer gardens each year, and how many would love to have a summer garden and flower or vegetable garden? And would love to have one, but have no idea where to start. Well, tonight we're doing Gardening 101 with Dr. Edgar Vinson. Now, Dr. Vinson, uh, and I just love saying Dr. Vincent, y'all, because he doesn't like to be called Dr. Vincent. But anyway, um, Dr. Vincent has a BS in biology from the University of Alabama, and he earned his master's and his PhD from Auburn University. He has nearly 27 years in the Department of Horticulture at the Auburn University, and he has nearly 8 years as a assistant extension professor with the Department of Horticulture and the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. He does research, and then he has also an extension appointment on commercial fruit production with a focus on peaches and strawberries. And so Dr. Vinson. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Vinson in here, guys. And Dr. Vinson is also, um, he's a man of God, a strong man of God, strong faith. And we'll talk to him about that one day because he has really a lot of biblical knowledge and strong faith and prayer warrior. And so he teaches me a lot of things because, yeah, I know Juju sometimes her thinking gets a little to the left. So Edgar brings me back to the center. He's also a husband of over 31 years. He's married to Joyce Thomas Vinson, Duchess Thomas. Most of you guys know her from Facebook. And then he's a father of two. He has Jared Vinson is his son, and then Adriel Vinson is his daughter. Two lovely kids. He has two siblings, Elton Vinson and Lynette Vinson Mays, and then just a host of other family friends. Edgar, I'm calling you. It says you're not answering me. I need you to answer me and come on in the room. Dr. Vinson, wait a minute. Oh, wait. No. Okay, let's see. I'm going to invite you again. Now, you need to come accept the invitation and come on in here. Don't be hiding from me. Um, okay, there's Dr. Vincent. How are you doing? And guys, if you have any questions, because Dr. Vincent and I are just going to have a conversation tonight about gardening. But if you have any questions, put those questions in the chat. If you have any gardening questions, put them in the chat, and then we will make sure that we get those questions, get them answered because we want to answer your questions. How are you doing this evening, Dr. Vincent?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Um, and Dr. Vincent is uh, when it comes to garden, I think he's a little miracle worker because I told you all the story about my banana tree, and I had this banana tree, and I see banana trees around all the time. I've never seen them in open like with any bananas on them, but my friend gave me the banana tree, and he said, "Yeah, it'll produce bananas." And everybody said, "Those things don't grow bananas for real." He said, "Yes, it will. It'll produce bananas." And he says it takes about 7 years for you to get some bananas, but it'll produce your bananas. And so I'm sitting here and he's fertilizing it in the water and then pruning it and everything. And I'm looking at the tree thinking, ain't gonna grow no bananas on this tree. Year one, I ain't gonna get no bananas. Year two, three, four, five, six, seven. And then after year seven, I was like, I know I wasn't gonna get no bananas and everything. You can't grow no bananas. That thing don't grow no bananas. So it was about year nine. And one day I was in the kitchen washing dishes and I looked out the back window and it was this red flower hanging off of my banana tree. And I said, "What is that?" And so I ran out the backyard because out the back door because Edgar was out of town somewhere. I ran out the back door and I said, "Oh my God, it's little bananas on the tree." And I took pictures. I said, Edgar, "Edgar, what is this? What is this? It's these my bananas." And he said, "Yes." And Mr. Jackson, I sent you the pictures of the bananas. Can you just put those in the chat, that picture, so you can see my bananas that I got off my banana tree? So that's why I call him my miracle worker when it comes to gardening. But anyway, so Mr. Dr. Vinson, I just want us to have a discussion about growing gardens and whatnot. But I want to ask you first, is there a major difference? I want to talk about the value of having your own garden, growing your own vegetables. Is there a major difference between the vegetables I would grow at home and those I might buy in the grocery store or I may buy at the farmer's market?
Yeah, I'd say that there's certainly a difference in the vegetables that you buy at home, buy at the grocery store, and those that you grow at home, fruit or vegetable. Fresher is always better. Oftentimes, the fruit and vegetables that you get from the grocery store are shipped in from from great locations, and there are certain things have to be done to ensure the delivery of fruit and vegetables that are intact. And so oftentimes that is just whatever that treatment is, sometimes that will degrade the vitamin content and just the overall nutrient content and the flavor and just the overall freshness. It's so, having having fruits and vegetables or locally grown fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market I think is always better in terms of health and the overall flavor of the fruit.
Okay, see, I didn't know that it would, whatever they do can take away from the vitamins and nutrients that's in the vegetable or the fruit. I didn't do that. I know you always tell us to make sure we wash the fruit and get the shine off to get the, what do you say, pesticides and whatever else is on them.
Well, yeah, and generally places like that will take good care to make sure they're delivering clean fruit to the grocery stores. But it's always a good practice, I think, to rinse fruit. And some fruit it just doesn't stand water too well, like strawberries, for instance.
Right.
That's you don't want to put too much water on those.
Okay. All righty then. Let me see. I'm going to see if we have any questions before I go any further. Mr. Jackson, did we have any questions thus far from our
Well,
viewers?
um, there is a
For
question
Dr.
from or a
Benson.
statement from Christine Thomas. She says she needs help with her plum and peach trees. They're
Okay.
not producing fruit and is having had them for 3 years. What does she need to do? Um, and then she also stated that she would love to have a summer garden, but does have a hard time deciding what to plant.
Okay.
So those are the questions so far that we have.
Okay. Okay. So, uh, uh, Edgar, I'm just gonna call you Edgar now.
Oh, that's fine.
Edgar. So, some fruit trees have to have a male and a female. Do plums and peaches, are they male and
Yeah, well,
female?
yeah, there are some fruit trees that do have male and female flowers. Sometimes all male flowers are on one tree and all female flowers on another tree, and then sometimes male and female flowers are on the same plant. Having said that, there are some like in for instance, the plum. You can have male and female flowers, or not. I'm sorry, you can have flowers that require cross pollination. That's the issue with plums. Sometimes plums, depending on the variety, they are what we call self-fertile, meaning that they don't require another pollen from another plum tree to set fruit. but there are a lot of the varieties that we have that are for sale at nurseries require the pollen from another plum tree, and so that's why it's
Okay.
always good to the nursery should oftentimes the nursery should tell you that so that you can uh,
The
buy
mate,
a plum
by
tree
mate.
that has a companion plum tree so that
Okay.
they can flower together and exchange pollen.
Okay. All right. So, Christine, maybe you need to go out and buy a mate for your peaches and plum trees, but you could talk to Dr. Vinson or more about your peach and plum trees, and he can get you because he majors in
Yeah,
peaches.
yeah, and we'll say now plums generally they're
Oh,
self-fertile. Not
okay.
plums, I'm sorry,
Peaches.
peaches are
Okay.
self-fertile
Okay.
typically. Yeah, so that's really not a problem for peaches. Uh, the fact that you've got 3-year-old trees, usually they can really set fruit earlier on. We've had in the last couple of years we've had late freezes, and that's
Mhm.
that's been a problem, and that's why a lot of people didn't see fruit on their plum trees or plum or peach trees.
Okay. All righty then. And you answered the question about the farmers market, I think. So you local farmers markets generally have fresher fruit and vegetables than groceries, right?
Generally, yes, because they will harvest their fruit either the night before or that morning. A lot of times even that morning, and they will truck their fruit to the farmers market, and they'll sell it right there. So they're really
Okay.
fresh.
Really fresh. Okay. And then you told us some of the benefits of homegrown fruit and vegetables. They have more nutrients, they have a better flavor to them. Anything else, any other benefits of having homegrown fruit and vegetables?
Well, the public is becoming increasingly more interested in where their fruit comes from.
Okay.
And and if you grow your own fruit, then you know what's been put on your fruit. And
Mm-hmm.
and if you get your fruit from the farmer's market, then over time you'll build a relationship with that farmer or those farmers, and you can talk to them, and they will gladly tell you how they produce their fruit. What are the things that they put on their fruit? Oftentimes, farmers, in some years they're probably put on limited pesticides.
Okay.
Anything, and so you'll have that relationship with the farmer, and you'll then know what's been on your fruit, and then
Okay.
and just general proximity to the fruit. It's right there in your yard, your backyard, and it's there for your consumption. It's the fruit's typically healthy. The leafy greens, good leafy greens are healthy. The thing we call super fruits, those dark fruits like blackberries and blueberries, strawberries, all of those have those health promoting components, anthocyanins and phenolics, all of those cancer fighting substances in there, which are really good for people. And
Okay.
yeah,
All right. You done pull your science book out on me with those words. All right. Okay. Um, so, what is the best times to start
Julia,
planting?
Julia,
Uh, yes.
we do have questions in the
Okay.
chat.
Okay. I get to those. Hold on just a second. Okay. What is the best time to start planting spring and summer gardens?
the the best time to start, we'll start with spring. I think at least with horticultural crops, what we call specialty crops, those are best, I think, being planted after the threat of frost is past.
Okay.
You can plant in, some people say by April 15th. You can do that, but sometimes there's just a little bit of cold left.
Okay.
And what I see happen often is people going to the big box stores, and they'll see those nice green vegetables, the flowers, and they're ready to plant. And we've had some warm days, and they plant them, and then we have a cold front that moves through,
Okay.
and it destroys their plant, and they have to start all over again. So
Okay.
I just think of a rule of thumb is after all threat of frost has been moved. And
Okay.
also,
So we're not late because I was thinking we were late, but we're
no,
not late. Okay.
no.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, you say you had questions.
Yes, I've got a question from Murtis Burton Daniels. She's had a lemon tree for 3 years now and still has no lemons. She would like to get some advice. And she says all the leaves have fallen off. Is that normal?
No, it's not normal. It sounds like the tree is under some sort of stress. Uh, Lemon trees are highly susceptible to cold weather. They don't really do well. Citrus in general don't do well. Citrus plants in general don't do well. If you have citrus plants, they're typically best planted left indoors. Maybe a sunroom or a greenhouse or something to protect them from the cold. And I, I really don't have as much information about the lemon tree. Oftentimes what happens though is that lemon trees, the top part of the tree will die and the rootstock is what's left. And, it really it may be unknown as to what that rootstock is. So it would really do best on the indoors. Citrus would do it best in indoors in this climate.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay. Do we have any other questions, Mr. Jackson?
No, we're good to go. There are no more questions. I don't
Okay.
see any. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything that we need to do to prep our soil to prepare for planting our garden?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, so it all starts with the soil, and good healthy soil. You want to make sure that you're planting in an ideal spot. I know that farming or gardening it can be a challenge, but you want to keep those challenges down to a minimum because most of us we have a day job, and so you really don't want to create more problems than are necessary. So with the soil, it's a good idea to get a soil test, and that soil test will tell you what nutrients are lacking, what needs to be added. It'll also tell you the soil pH and what needs to be added to fix the soil pH. And typically what's added to fix the soil pH is lime, Lime.
Okay.
And so it will help. It typically in Alabama and in this part of the United States, the soils tend towards acidity. So and most fruit crops do well with pHs of 6 to 6.8, somewhere in that range. And oftentimes the soil will fall below that range and significantly below that range. And so the soil test will tell you how much lime to add to the soil.
Okay. So how do we get these soil tests?
And see, the soil test, you can go to your county extension office, and they will provide you with soil test boxes.
Okay.
Along with some instructions on how to collect the soil test.
Okay.
And typically you just in the area where you're going to plant, you just strategically take some samples, put here and there, and you put it in a bucket and you mix it together and you scoop it out into that box, fill that box to the rim, and you submit that sample to the soil lab.
Okay. All right. And then they'll is there a cost associated with that?
It used to. I think it was about $7 per sample, but it's worth it if you're really serious about gardening. It's really worth it to know what your soil needs. People oftentimes they'll see if their plants are having some obvious nutrient problems. They'll throw fertilizer at it. No, doesn't fix it. Well, that's because the pH is off. And pH is off. It doesn't matter how much fertilizer you put on the plant. It's just not going to be able to take it up until it's in that ideal pH range.
Okay. All right then. Well, you need to come get my banana tree pH back right so I can get some more bananas this year. So we need to get the pH right because I do what you say. I just put fertilizer around it, and ever since you stopped taking care of it, I hadn't got no more bananas. So anyway, okay, so yeah, I need some my test. Yeah, I need for you to test my pH.
Okay.
Um, um, what kind of fruit and vegetables and what kind of flowers grow best in our climate here in the East Alabama, in East Alabama?
Well, wide range of fruits and vegetables can grow here, and that is ideal though to plant varieties of crops and the varieties that do well. With the summer crops, tomato, bell pepper, all of those what we call solanaceous plants, tomato, bell pepper, hot pepper, even Irish potato,
Yeah.
and the cucurbits, or what we call the cucumber, the squash, all the melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, all of those, just a wide variety, leafy greens towards the late summer and fall and early spring, all of the what we call the brassicas, the turnips, collard greens, cabbage, Brussels sprout. Brussels sprouts can be a bit of a challenge for a new grower, but those can be grown here.
Okay. And you had made a statement, and somebody's coming in my house. So y'all just hold on, cause I might have to shoot. I didn't say shoot, but that's what I meant. Oh, okay. It's my baby, so I won't shoot her. But anyway, um, what was I saying? Jordan threw me off, y'all. I'm sorry. When you sitting here and somebody unlocking your door, then that kind of throws you off. She's home from college tonight. So hey, Jordan, say hey to the people. Um, but anyway, so Mr. Jackson, you said you had another question.
Yeah, we've got several. Thank you
Okay,
so
great.
much. We've
Okay.
got we've got two questions from Mr. Andrew Page, one of my long time friends from the University of Alabama. Welcome in, Andrew Page. Andrew's asking, after the first time, will it produce again? And then he's asking, what is the lifespan for fruit trees? Okay, and then after that, I've got two more questions from others. I'll give Dr. Vinson an opportunity to answer that. Then I'll come back and give you the iteration of the other questions.
I think I missed the first part of that
Sure.
question. What was
After the first tree, I'm sorry, after the first time, will it produce again? And I think he may be
That's the
referencing
banana tree.
the banana tree.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's a good question because technically, no, it won't. That it won't produce again, but if you'll notice at the base of the plant, usually when you have banana plants, you've got all these little baby, what we call daughter plants or baby plants that are coming up. Those plants will succeed the mother plant. In fact, that mother plant will die after producing a banana bunch. Once that plant dies, it's cut off. It's cut off, and the baby plants are then left to succeed that plant, and then those will produce bananas, and it just goes on like that. You just have successor plants producing banana bunches.
So does it take 7 years for each thing to
No, it really doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I could, the first time I planted some, I think we had 2 mild winters in a row, and we were able, that second winter, we were able to get some bananas that year.
Okay.
And there's also some varieties of banana that produce really quickly, and just in one season they can produce a banana bunch.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the
All
next question, Mr. Jackson.
Was you answered the question about the lifespan.
Oh no, yeah, the lifespan of fruit trees,
Yes.
you know, it just depends on the owner of the tree. The light trees can last a number of years. Peach, apple, plum, they can just last a number of years. Uh, it really just depends on the environment, depends on whether or not it's been planted in the ideal climate. As we can see, it is getting warmer though, and a lot of peach trees, a lot of plums, and just a lot of fruit trees in general don't necessarily live as long as they've been living. Uh, I know in commercial peach production, orchards in the past could last 20 years or more, but now 12 years, 15 years max.
And that's due to the climate
That's
change?
part of it is due to climate change.
Okay,
Yeah, and
okay,
among other things, they're just disease, soil issues with the soil over time, long periods of time.
okay. Other questions, Mr. Jackson?
Well, not so much questions. Make a statement from Jackie Vinson Ficklin. She says she's had a lemon tree in Cincinnati and all the leaves fell off. And then she put the tree outside as the weather got warmer and it started growing again. Then we have a statement from Tiffany Williams, which says, it's really a statement and a question. She's asking, what about houseplants? She's terrified of replanting plants and knowing that they're going to be strangled. Can you address Ms. Vinson Ficklin and then Tiffany Williams' question statement?
Okay. Jackie, I completely forgot about your your question. We talked about this before recently, but yeah, placing it outside, giving it more sunlight, it's that's going to be some ideal conditions for it. And I mean, they certainly can't live outside indefinitely in a place like Cincinnati, but being outside is going to allow it to get more sunlight. So it's going to not only that, it's going to accumulate some heat or what we call heat units, and that's going to allow it to grow and flourish as much as it can. But it is going to eventually have to be placed inside again, where the sunlight's going to be lacking again. So it's most likely going to be a cycle like that, unless they can get some sort of supplemental lighting on the inside.
Okay.
Plants need a minimum of 8 to 12 hours, I would say, on outside. They really need that sunlight. I'd say an absolute minimum 6 hours, but 8 is the lowest I think I would go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vincent. And the next question, or Tiffany Williams, is wanting to know about houseplants. She's terrified of replanting them, and she's stating that the plants are being strangled. I know her feeling. I have killed all plants and tried to replant, and I have those plants from my mother's, and I don't want to
Okay.
touch them, so I
Okay.
don't bring them here. I'm terrible with that. So,
Okay.
what say you about those two statements in question?
Well, yeah, that's in an area of horticulture I'm a little bit
Right.
in, but that's a whole line of horticultural study. But it sounds to me that maybe the roots are becoming root bound in the pot. It's outgrowing the pot itself, and it will have to be potted again. It has to be repotted in fresh soil. Taking that plant out of that, you will need to take that plant out of that container and carefully break up the root mass that most likely that plant is, that the roots are root bound. When I say root bound, I mean the roots have taken on the shape of the container. And it's really tight. They're not getting the nutrients they need. They're not getting the water that they need. And so you have to break the root ball up, cut it maybe in half at least, and then place it in a bigger pot, a pot that's not too terribly larger than the original pot, but definitely a larger pot, and then fresher soil, and then fertilize and water as normal. That breaking up the root will signal to the root. Breaking up the root ball will signal to the root to explore more soil. Because if you just stick it in a new pot without breaking the roots up, they'll maintain that tight configuration. They will not come out of that. So you have to break up the root ball.
Break up the root ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to our gardening. Is it necessary to allow your soil to rest in between planting? I mean, like rotate. If you got a vegetable garden, do you need to rotate what you plant in spots or years that you plant?
That's a good question, an important question for home gardening. It's rotate. As every year, try to place it in a different area in your garden, because soil pests in general have a way of finding your plants and taking up refuge there in your plant. And again, that just makes life more miserable for you if you're trying to produce your own plants. And so trying to produce your own fruit and vegetables. So it is ideal to rotate your garden as much as possible.
Okay.
In terms of just letting the land lay fallow or without planting anything, I wouldn't do that. I would put something on it, like a cover crop or something.
Okay.
Because essentially what you do, if you don't plant anything there, weeds will take up residence, and you'll increase what we call the weed seed bank. They'll just produce weeds. The weeds will go to seed, and then you'll just have that cycle over and over again. The weeds are hard to handle.
So it's not good to just let the land lay dormant, but rotate your crop.
Right.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay. Now, say I've tried planting traditional gardening. You know this, Edgar, and it's not easy. Oh my goodness, it's not easy. So I'm thinking of trying my hand at a raised garden. So tell me about raised gardens.
Raised gardens are, they can, they not only look good when they're nice arrangements in the garden, in your backyard, but they do help the plant. They do create a better environment for the plant. You can make the raised beds out of maybe out of wood or cinder blocks or anything to raise that soil. And one of the things that's good about having raised beds is that that soil, that bed, is going to be several inches above the normal soil, and that promotes good drainage, water drainage. One thing you don't want is excess water or standing water in your garden. That chokes the roots. Roots do need oxygen, just as we need oxygen, and filling all those soil spaces with water, it chokes the roots, and those roots then die. So being that those several inches above the ground will promote good soil drainage. For people who have mobility issues, if you can have the bed raised at a particular height, 36 inches, maybe a little more, that it will allow them to sort of rest there at the edge of the bed and then tend to the garden or harvest, weed the garden or water or harvest the fruit.
So if I had a raised garden, like a wooden box or whatever, I would need to lift it up and not have it flat on the ground.
Well, no. I mean, it will be on the ground, but the soil together, because you're going to then turn around and fill that box with some type of soil, some type of planting media. And just overall, that difference in height, the regular ground and then that height, is the water is just going to drain out. Drain the roots of the plants.
All righty. And is there a limit on what type of vegetables or flowers you can grow in the raised garden? I mean, I know you can't put no corn in there, but I mean,
Yeah, you can. It won't be practical, but yeah, because yeah, you'll want to get more than what, that 2 to 4 ears. But uh, yeah, that's a good question. It really just depends on, what you want there. Some plants take up a lot of space.
mhm,
Some squash
mhm,
take up a lot of space, and so
mhm.
and uh, you. But if you want squash, you maybe a couple of plants there. Uh, Cucumbers would take up more vertical space because they're
Mhm.
a vining plant, and so they would climb upward. But other things like other plants that spread, like watermelon, I don't think I would put watermelon or cantaloupe in there.
Okay.
That's just going to take up more space than you need. So it really depends on. It's up to the gardener what they would like to have in there, and that realizing that some plants do take up a lot of space.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, I see you had some more questions.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
There's a question from one of our listeners. How often should you fertilize your fruit, vegetable, and flowers? And then after you answer that, I have another question and a statement from a viewer.
Okay. Well, fruit and fruit and vegetables. I mean, they can be. The soil test will tell you how much to apply to the soil, and saying that's pre-plant. So there's going to be some of the requirement for that plant is going to be applied to the soil when you're working up the soil just prior to planting the plant, your tomatoes or your bell pepper, whatever it is. Um, After that, it's usually weekly applications of fertilizer up until yeah. Now this is vegetables. This kind of weekly additions of fertilizer, and but these amounts they're not great amount. They're not high amounts, large
Okay.
amounts of fertilizer, and
Wow.
yeah, and you would fertilize the plants until that amount of fertilizer is supplied that the soil test recommended that they receive.
Okay.
So some of it's going to be met in the soil before planting. The rest will be provided throughout the life of the plant.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very, very kindly for that. And we have a statement and a question. One of
Okay.
our viewers stated they have had a peace lily for 8 years and had to repot it because it was growing fast and the roots started to come out of the pot. The question is it true that the bigger the pot, the bigger the plant will grow?
Yeah, yes, the pot will provide more space for the root to explore the media, and which gives it more access to water, more access to nutrients. And a plant like a peace lily, it's really necessary that you not leave it in that original pot after so long, because as the viewer mentioned, the roots are starting to come out of that pot, and so it's best to periodically or so often step up what we call step up the pot for that plant. So that plant sounds like it is due for a potting, a new pot. So
It needs to move.
fresh media.
Um, okay, and we are coming up to time. Oh my goodness, Dr. Vinson, time has flown. Um, what one piece of good advice would you give a first time gardener or just gardeners in general that we may just not know or may just do it wrong? Something that people commonly do wrong with gardening.
Well, first of all, I would certainly get a soil test. I think that's going to be paramount, so you can know how much fertilizer to apply, if any is necessary for some plants. Also, plant crops or vegetables that do well in your area. Just planting certain plants in your area that really don't fit, aren't really not adapted to our area. That's just going to cause you more issues. Some more experienced growers or gardeners might be able to handle the plants, like I mentioned, Brussels sprouts are a bit of a challenge. They can be grown here, but they are a bit of a challenge. Yeah, so watch that. Just getting with your extension office and finding out which crops do best here in our area in Central Alabama. Yeah, and just be patient, really. Do your homework, apply treat your soil the way that it should be treated, apply the fertilizer, the amendments, and just be patient.
And what
And
type of soil, Dr. Vinson, should we put in our raised garden? Just regular topsoil, or what kind of soil should we put in our raised gardens?
You can do that. I would get some some soil medium from one of the box stores.
Okay.
And you can mix in some organic material, some really rotted, completely composted material to improve the soil health, overall soil health and quality of the soil. But you can do that. You can get some soil from the area, mix it up, and then just treat it the same way, adding some organic matter and the fertility that it might require.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Jackson? Right quick, because we are coming.
No,
to time.
It's about time. We're at the ending of the time. I was just going to really thank Dr. Vinson for a wonderful education on horticulture. It's so refreshing to hear about these things that we really need to understand. And thank you so much. And this was a wonderful conversation. And I wanted to give a big shout out and an announcement before I turn it back over to our wonderful host. First, I want to thank all of our viewers and all of those people that came out to support us last Friday. Even though it was raining, it did not stop you from supporting St. Luke and the Fish Fry. It was very successful. Thank you to all of those that purchased. Thank you to the wonderful hosts, the Thomases, and the rest of the St. Luke AME Church family. And another piece of information I wanted to share is we are really excited about the third annual Juneteenth celebration at St. Luke. It's going to be on June 15th. That seems to be a long way away, but if you blink your eyes, June will be around the corner. We're still looking for vendors who would like to occupy space, and we're looking for sponsorships. And Julia will talk to you a little bit more about that, but I want you to like and share this particular video so that people can hear about horticulture, how to grow their veggies, and get some good pointers from Dr. Vinson and to learn what we're going to be doing in the community. So great job, Dr. Vinson, and I will turn it back over to you, Julia.
All right, thank you, Edgar. You had something else you wanted to say?
I just wanted to give a plug to the Alabama Cooperative Extension System for people to reach out to that organization. We not only help with gardening, but we help with any issues that life can bring. And so whatever issues they are, you can contact Extension. You'll find some specialists, some experts in that particular area that can help. And you can go to, that's www.aces.edu. That's aces.edu.
Okay. All right.
Julia?
You got that in the chat, Mr. Jackson?
No, ma'am, I do not, because I'm so busy putting in stuff that I forgot to talk about. May I?
Okay.
Will you give me another moment, please?
Okay.
Because
Let me
I
let me get these announcements in, and
That's
then
what I'm
I'll
getting
let you do
in. That's what I'm
what
I'm
you.
getting ready to put in. I'm getting ready to get the announcements in for you.
Okay, well,
Um,
let me.
so
Okay, we need to move quickly with the
yes, I'm
announcement.
moving
Okay,
because I missed them. I'm putting them in there.
okay,
Please forgive me. I wanted to make
okay.
sure that you were aware that there is a wonderful opportunity for scholarships. We have applications for open. They are open for the Milford Minority Scholarship Fund.
Mhm.
Applications can apply at the link below. I have that information posted in there for you. So let's
And make sure
support.
if y'all know somebody, because like C was saying, they can't get people to apply. If you know somebody that's graduating, and go tell them, go read the information, the qualifications for the scholarship, and encourage them to apply.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we have Huddle, Hold Up the Light, one of our wonderful supporters who is in charge of that, Tiffany Williams. Please don't forget to support her wonderful organization, Hold Up the Light. That information is posted along with the website. And also, I want to remind us, we've got some wonderful talent from a mother and daughter. They come out on every Monday and they present their wonderful podcast. And I want you to tune in. I'll be there on Monday. It's the Divinely Guided podcast with George Thomas Vinson and her daughter Adrielle Vinson. So there are new episodes every Monday at the appropriate time. And also, please don't forget to like and share this video. We want to make sure that you are sharing this because we get a chance to talk. And next week, we're going to be talking on a wonderful subject of fentanyl. So we want to make sure you tune in to Let's Talk. And there's also some information. I want you to support my friend by Juju for you, excuse me. She does a wonderful job crocheting. So we will not have a show on the 31st, as we will all be celebrating the resurrection and spending time with our families. So, Julia, I'm sorry for missing all those announcements. I don't know what I was thinking about. I was so
That's
excited
okay.
trying to get us out
That's
of here.
okay.
But I'll turn
But
it back
just
over
make
to you.
okay, just make sure you put that in the chat, the links and stuff that people can go
Honey,
and
I'm
support.
on it. I
Okay.
am on it. It's
All
in the
right.
chat. I'm
All
on it.
right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, as always, for your great production. Thank you, Edgar. This is my one call, that's all, brother-in-law. And so thank you so much for supporting me always. I appreciate it. Um, and like Mr. Jackson said, you guys, I want everybody to tune in next week and make sure that you tell somebody about it next week, because we're going to be discussing the who, what, when, and where of fentanyl. And we know that fentanyl is taking a toll on the Black community. It's really deadly. It's out there, and we need to make sure that we get that information. Um, Make sure we get that information out to inform people how to recognize it, what is it, what to do if you think somebody has overdose. All of those things we're going to be discussing. So join in our discussion next week. We're going to discuss who, what, when, and where of fentanyl. All righty. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. It has been a wonderful conversation. I'll see you guys back here next week. And in the meantime, I am Juju, that mountain moving giant slayer. And until we meet again, I wish you much love and many blessings. Good night, guys. Have an awesome evening.